In this section, we'll be looking into Spline Wrap. Let's open up the Spline Wrap, and this is what you'll be able to see. In Spline Wrap, we need two elements. One is the object, another one is the path for it to move around. So let's use cube, and we try to increase the X of the cube. And maybe we want to make it like a ribbon. So this is our cube, and we need to create a path for it to move around. So I will hold down my middle click of my mouse and to view 4 panels, and I get into front. So when I'm in the front preview here, I'll click onto the middle button again. I can focus on the front view. So I click onto the spline pen tool and I start to create my path. Now you can select move to, and with the point selecting, you can click on one of the points and to move around. But right now what you will see that when I move, the points is moving around. Reason being is right now I'm selecting both cube and spline. So let's just select the spline, and you'll be able to move the handle to change the spline size that you are going for. And when you click onto the middle button, you zoom out for 4 panels, and I zoom back into perspective, and I can push my spline to move it around. Now we move the spline wrap under the cube because we want the spline wrap to affect the cube. So I just move it under the cube. Right now nothing happened because we haven't assigned the spline to it. So when we select the spline wrap, you'll be able to see under the object panel, you'll be able to see that there's this spline column. Just drag the spline and drop to the spline column, and you'll be able to see something like this. We cannot see the curve. Reason being, we don't have enough segment in the cube. So I select the cube, increase the segment of the X. Now you'll be able to see that the cube is around this path. And go back to spline wrap and see what we can play around with it. At the spline wrap here, you'll be able to see that there's this axis X, which is the correct one, and we can see the strength. Okay, normally we will go for 100%. And offset, right now we just offset the whole cube along the path. And from is to animate out. So right now this is the from, and our from move to 100%. That means you will not be able to see the cube. So now move back to 0. And 100, if I move the numbers to the left, basically it's suppressing the last bit of it. So let's remain from is 0, to is 100%. And right now take a look at the mode. The mode is actually affecting how the cube be on the spline. So right now fit spline, meaning that it will stretch your cube to fit the starting point and the end point. So what if we go for keep length, and it will keep the length of the cube that we have created just now. Yeah, this is the 2 settings mode. And if let's say I want the cube to be shorter, I will go back to my cube and reduce the Z size. Alright, so if you take a look at this, now we have a better understanding on from and to. There's maximum when you are pushing this slider, there's maximum. You can always hover to the numbers, left click and hold and increase the numbers, or you can type it on your own. Alright, so I keep it back to 100. And let's take a look at the size. Now that is this size, right now it's 1, and if I decrease it, you see the starting point, the size get decreased. Or if let's say I move it up and push the second point down, the ending size will go smaller. This is the size. And if I go some more, you will be able to see the rotation, and right now the rotation is 0. If I move like this, the starting will start to rotate. And this is how you can play around with the rotation of the whole path. And let's take a look at the offset. You'll be able to see the rotation and the size remains. Now if let's say I want to make it look more like ribbon, I can go to cube and I top up this fillet, and I increase the size of the fillet, increase the fillet subdivision, maybe just 5 enough. And the radius here you can increase more. and you'll be able to see, and I just go to display ground shading. You'll see that it looks more like a ribbon. And if you don't have enough segment, you can still increase your segment so that it looks smoother. I go back to spline, and you can start animating your animation. Alright, so this is Spline Wrap.